Bay, what law enforcement officers will be required to wear when operating in San Jose. Plus, Hurricane Melissa makes history, landing as a Category 5 storm in Jamaica. This morning, a look at the damage left behind as we hear from survivors and where the storm is headed now.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Garcia Micaelia.
And good morning, I'm Dave Clark. It is Wednesday. It's October 29th. Garcia, Steve has some nice weather for you.
I'm so excited.
You can thank him yourself. He's right here.
Thank you, Steve.
There was some kind of nature sign for you this morning, Garcia.
I did get a nature sign. I walked out to the car and I could hear an owl hooting in the in the close distance. Yeah, it was so lovely.
I agree with that.
What a
All right, well, I'll get going here on the forecast. It is clear out there, and it's a little cool for some, and it's warm for others. The city is 59. There's upper 40s, mid 40s for some. The warmest temp in the Bay Area that I can find is Pillar Point at 65 balmy degrees. That's because of that east-northeast breeze. You know, even though we've had recent rain, always got to keep an eye on that east-northeast breeze, especially in October. Temperatures are bumping up. Thankfully, we're not looking for 90s, although, but we're looking for 80s today. For many, 70s and 80s. It'll be a beautiful day today, mild to warm. We'll get a little cool down tomorrow, and then we'll start a little warm up again as we go into the Halloween weekend there. But let the sun shine in, and temperatures 40s, 50s, 60s on the lows. We'll be at 70s and 80s for highs, well above average today, 78 to 84 degrees. Well, another day, another heartache. This time, the Sunol grade.
I like what you did there, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
And yes, you're absolutely right. Sunol grade. I want to start with good news, though, and that's the Richmond Bridge, even though we've had a couple of things. One of the things that we've learned about the Richmond Bridge is now that they have that shoulder out there, so a couple of people have reached out saying, hey, it's a little lighter now that they have a shoulder, because when there's a stalled car, you pull it over to the shoulder and it doesn't block the travel lanes. But we still have a backup now from west of Harbor. So yes, you can go where you want to go, but you still have to kind of like be constrained by the traffic. But it's a little better there on the Richmond Bridge. Let's talk about the Bay Bridge backed up to the Maze. Steve mentioned that we had some problems. This is Highway 4 westbound, looks okay, but Sunol grade very slow. We had some slow traffic because of an earlier crash, and the San Mateo Bridge approach is slow because of an earlier crash as well. 7:02, let's get back to the headlines.
All right, Sal, thank you. Well, happening now, House Speaker Mike Johnson will give us an update as the 29th day of this federal government shutdown begins. We're watching Washington right now. Here's live pictures. There's House Speaker Johnson right here. Now, we'll be listening to his comments and bring you details of it. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune told Politico Republican lawmakers are increasingly convinced some centrist Democrats are about ready to fold by early next week. This comes as Vice President J.D. Vance assured Senate Republicans that members of the U.S. military will be paid this week, though he didn't say where the money's coming from. Democrats are demanding that President Trump step in and get involved. Again, these are live pictures of House Speaker Mike Johnson. The Democrats say the time that the president has spent with them in negotiating, it's not enough.
Several Bay Area restaurants and businesses plan to offer free and discounted meals for people who rely on food assistance. Federal money for CalFresh food assistance is expected to run out November 1st. That's this Saturday due to the ongoing government shutdown. Our Allie Rasmus live in studio with a look, Allie, at some of the local spots that are really stepping in to help.
Garcia, some restaurants, grocery stores, several Bay Area businesses offering free and discounted meals starting November 1st to people who receive food assistance. There's an estimated 5.5 million Californians who rely on CalFresh food assistance. That's California's version of SNAP benefits, what used to be known as food stamps. And the bulk of the money for CalFresh, though, comes from the federal government. So with the government shutdown still ongoing, the U.S. Department of Agriculture says the funding for SNAP programs will run out by this Saturday, November 1st. Now, news of that deadline just days away prompted about a half a dozen Bay Area restaurants to announce this week they're going to be giving free and discounted meals to families on food assistance. Tony and Alba's restaurant in San Jose was one of the first to make the announcement. Other restaurants like Cochise Cafe in Morgan Hill, Monster Pho and Puerto Rican Street Cuisine in Oakland, as well as Al Pastor Papi in San Francisco, also offering discounted meals to people on CalFresh. Most of these restaurants are offering free meals meals to kids under the age of 12 and a discount on food for adults to anyone who shows their ID and SNAP benefits card.
I want them to know that don't be embarrassed, because we all need help sometimes.
Right.
So come on in.
I feel like it's a ray of hope or a little ray of sunshine to come out with some positivity out of all this.
It's very important for me in a lot of ways, not just in a community level, but also in a personal level.
In San Francisco later this morning, Mayor Daniel Lurie is expected to announce that all of the city's 112,000 residents who receive CalFresh benefits will have their benefits covered next month. Half of the money for that will be paid for through the city's reserve fund, the other half through private donations. And in addition to the discounted meals at restaurants, the owner of 2 Bay Area grocery stores, the grocery outlets in Pleasant Hill and Concord, says she will also be offering a discount to people coming in to buy groceries as long as they have a valid CalFresh or EBT card. We'll be speaking with her coming up in the next hour of Mornings on 2. Back to you.
Allie, thank you. Time now 7:06. The San Jose City Council unanimously passed 2 measures to protect immigrant communities while there's increased federal immigration enforcement. Now, one measure told the staff to identify city-owned properties that could be used as staging grounds for immigration enforcement and to develop a policy to restrict how they're used. One council member said fear is so widespread that one local food bank doesn't even want to accept help from the National Guard offered by the governor during the government shutdown.
They're saying unfortunately, we can't take advantage of that offer from the state right now to have National Guard at our sites because people no longer know what law enforcement agencies they can trust and which ones they can't. And people might not take service if they see any kind of force.
Now, the City Council also adopted an ordinance that requires all law enforcement officers operating in San Jose to wear visible identification, and it bans the use of facial coverings. They also pointed out that the San Jose Police Department already has that kind of policy in place.
A San Francisco leader wants to provide more funding for legal aid for immigrants. Supervisor Jackie Fielder wants to direct $3.5 million to a rapid response network to help pay for legal representation. Legal experts say in the past several months, ICE has arrested more than 87 people at asylum hearings in San Francisco Immigration Court.
Some of those arrested included children who had just turned 18, a pregnant woman, a woman who was breastfeeding her child, fathers whose families rely on them to pay their rent and put food on the table. We've even seen those with serious medical issues be callously detained by ICE agents at the court and denied adequate medical care.
Advocates say thanks to their network of legal services, all 45 of the immigrants they represented were released from custody, sometimes within hours of their arrest.
All right, Gossi, at time 7:08, Hurricane Melissa made history. It blew ashore into Jamaica as a Category 5 storm with catastrophic flooding and damage.
And now Cuba is getting severe flooding. Our Andre Sr. is here to share some of the damage there in Jamaica.
Gossi, Dave, good morning to you both here. Well, tens of thousands of people hunkered down in shelters across Jamaica as Melissa broke records, making landfall as a Category 5 hurricane with wind gusts of up to 185 miles per hour. The worst of the storm spared the capital of Kingston, with Melissa washing ashore along the southwestern coast. But a majority of the island felt its impact. Destructive winds ripped off roofs, down trees, and knocked out power to more than 500,000 people.
The level of noise is ridiculous. Trees are really bended over and flew away, and some of our roof is currently off.
Our infrastructure has been severely compromised. St. Elizabeth is the breadbasket of the country, and that has taken a beating.
Heavy rains and dangerous storm surge led to heavy flooding and landslides. Officials say several people were trapped during the storm, but rescues may not happen until conditions improve.
For people in Jamaica, still very dangerous conditions across the island, a hurricane warning in effect.
What I want is for nothing bad to happen, to find my home as I left it when I return.
Well, Melissa is now a Category 3 and made landfall in Cuba this morning. Up to 20 inches of rain forecast for parts of the island. Ahead of the storm, Cuba's president urged people to evacuate and warned of possible long-term damage. After making its way into Cuba, Melissa is expected to cross into the Bahamas. The storm is then expected to make its way late Thursday, nearer to the west of Bermuda, where hurricane watch is in effect. Gassi, Dave?
Just incredible images here. Andre, I know there are many people trying to reach family and loved ones in Jamaica. You're among that group. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been through?
So I just talked to my cousin just a few moments ago. He's in Kingston. Kingston, you know, the sun's out, but they're trees covering the roads. He went to go check out one of his properties there, and he's having a tough time getting around. You heard that official there say St. Elizabeth is a breadbasket. That's where my grandfather lives. He's a farmer. We aren't able to get through to him or any of my family there in St. Elizabeth right now, which is not that unusual during storms. They do tend to lose cell phone service. So, but I have been calling around to different friends who have family in that general area to find out if they were able to reach their family. So that's what we're doing right now.
So how are you holding up?
You know, I'm fine. You know, there's nothing I can do at the moment until, you know, I just wait and see and call and try to get as much information as possible. But, you know, this is a particularly powerful storm. So that is worrying. But, you know, I'm not overly worried at the moment. But, you know, I just got to stay focused. Yeah.
And for people who didn't hear earlier, this, you know, you were born in Jamaica. You grew up. A large part of your childhood was spent there.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that, you know, you're doing this, but your heart is there. So we
you know, I go there pretty often. And so just making sure everyone's okay. So
well, we appreciate
making good thoughts.
Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate
it.
All right, Sal.
All right, thank you very much. Right now it's 7:11, and let's go right to the Bay Bridge. You'll see that it is backed up all the way out to the Mesa. It's kind of a long delay, a little bit longer than usual, although we do have a lot of slow traffic. Busy day, middle of the week. Highway 4, Pittsburgh, all the way to Concord, southbound 680. We had a crash right near the Walnut Creek interchange. It's on the shoulder. A lot of times, also 680 at Vargas, or between Andrade and Vargas, we had a crash. The lanes have been open for a while, but lots of times things remain on the shoulder, and that causes people to slow down. You can see right there, it's still very slow on 680 and also on Vallecito's Road. 7:12. Let's go back to the desk.
Look at the pictures. A 67-year-old American citizen dragged by Border Patrol agents. We'll tell you why Homeland Security officials say they took this action.
The search continues for the driver who led police on a chase late last night in the Bay Area that reached speeds of more than 100 miles an hour and went the wrong way on the freeway. How it all ended, coming up.
Jacoby and Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby and Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
7:15, some of the top stories we're following today. California is suing the Trump administration to prevent food benefits from running out. California is part of a coalition of 25 Democratic-run states and the District of Columbia that filed a lawsuit to keep SNAP benefits flowing. It wants to force the Agriculture Department to tap into an estimated $6 billion in contingency funds that are designed to be used during times like this. The USDA says that contingency money is intended to help respond to emergencies such as natural disasters. With federal assistance programs freezing funding in a matter of days, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors has approved spending $10 million to support local food assistance efforts. More than $8 million will go to the Alameda County Community Food Bank and its partners. Another $1.7 will support meals for seniors. Uber says it's set to launch a fleet of robo-taxis here in the Bay Area. The company says it's part of a partnership with Newark-based car maker Lucid and Mountain View-based autonomous driving company Nuro. The first cars in the test fleet have already been delivered. Uber says there will be more than 100 in the near future. Target launch time is sometime next year.
Our time now, 7:17. This morning, police still out there searching for whoever led them on a chase, one that reached up to 160 miles an hour. It started last night about 10:30 on westbound Interstate 580 at Lakeshore Avenue in Oakland. The chase went across the Bay Bridge to San Francisco. Then the driver headed back to Oakland, going the wrong way on the freeway at times. The car finally stopped under Interstate 880 after taking the A Street exit in Hayward, and 5 people jumped out of the car and ran into nearby neighborhoods. Alameda County Sheriff's deputies are helping the CHP in the search for the suspects.
All right, let's get out the door here, 7:17. Hopefully it's a calm start, but we've had some somewhat unusual problems, right, Sal?
Yeah, you know, in Fremont there, Garcia and Dave, we had a crash. It was there for a long time. It's gone, but it was right near the bottom of the Sunol grade, and it really did a number on 680. You getting out there, I don't want you to be surprised by this. It's going to take you a lot longer if you drive from Pleasanton to San Jose or anywhere in the Santa Clara Valley. If you're heading south from the East Bay, 680 is not the call if you can avoid it. Of course, you know, if you live right there along 680, you're going to have to go out there, but maybe you give yourself extra time. 880 is pretty heavy from 238 to Fremont. Some people choose that instead. It's been pretty slow. San Mateo Bridge had an earlier crash approaching the span. That's gone, but the traffic is busy. And, of course, we always look at the Bay Bridge. That is backed up all the way out to beyond the maze right now, 20 to 25-minute delay at least if you're starting from the end of the line and you got your timer. It's going to take you almost a half hour. 7:18. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, we'll get right to it here. Clear skies, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Oakland is 60. Half Moon Bay was 64. They've come down now. Obviously, the wind either turned or tailed off here, but 50s, 40s for many here. But we are running noticeably warmer than 24 hours ago. Half Moon Bay +9, Oakland +10 compared to yesterday at this time. Nevada's a little cooler. Palo Alto is a push there, but +2, 3, 4, 5. But there are a couple that are really well above. And we'll focus on the San Mateo coast. Pacifica 63. Pillar Point was 65. Now they're only 61. Same for Half Moon Bay. Yet Woodside's 46. 40s for Stanford, also Menlo Park and Atherton, Redwood City, 51 Los Altos Hills 56, and 52 Foster City and San Carlos. 20s, 30s up in the mountains, Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, and Reno's at 36, Alturas 29. High pressure's your fair weather friend today. System in the Pacific Northwest will what we call flatten that ridge tomorrow. We'll get a pretty good cool down, I think a good 10+ degrees. And then we'll rebound it on Friday, the all-important Friday. And Friday night looks spectacular, nothing to worry about. And then that first weekend in November will be warmer, but we set our clocks back Sunday, so it's tough to get too warm. Any rain on the way? I've mentioned the 6, 7 somewhere in there. It looks like something's brewing. Doesn't look like much, but we'll keep an eye on it. You know, still ways away, but something looks to be coming into the north, at least around then. Let the sun shine in today. The coast is clear, severe clear today. 70s, 80s on the temps. Cooler tomorrow, but then it looks like a nice Friday, then a nice weekend for the first weekend in November.
Can you believe it? Steve, thank you. The next step in replacing the ousted San Mateo County Sheriff, how supervisors are expected to fill that open position, and how you can weigh in on their plan.
Also, the Christmas tree for the U.S. Capitol is being prepared now for a 3,700-mile journey from the Sierra to Washington, D.C. It's a big one. What's in store for that long journey ahead of Christmas?
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's a calm, cool start to your morning as we look live over the Oakland Alameda Estuary. A soft sunrise and thankfully no rain. I say thankfully because we kind of got what we needed over the weekend. Now let's enjoy a few days of dry weather. A 48-year-old tree from the Sierra Nevada is headed to the White House's West Lawn to serve as the Capitol Christmas tree. The red fir, more than 50 feet tall, was cut down in the Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest in Nevada. It's the first time a Capitol Christmas tree has come from Nevada. It'll now travel more than 3,700 miles to Washington, making 13 stops along the way. Every year, a tree from a national forest is selected to serve as the Capitol Christmas tree.
Our time now 7:23. A Silicon Valley startup company is changing the concept of food delivery with its new robotic kitchen on wheels. Take a look. Kish Shin, a South Korean entrepreneur, created an autonomous Korean barbecue food truck. It uses a modular AI-powered system called AutoWok. It cooks your meal while the truck is driving to you.
Food ingredients that is yet to be cooked, loaded into refrigeration unit of the truck, and then once the food is finished, the AutoWok dispenses the finished food into the bowl, and the bowl is passed on to the driving section. And with this initial cleaning sequence, the AutoWok is able to clean itself to, I want to say, a perfect clean condition.
What do you think, Garcia?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Well, the public had its first taste of this robotic dining of the future at the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in San Francisco. The company plans to open a 24/7 automated micro restaurant at an airport here in California.
I need that in my house.
I know,
That's
me
why
too.
I said I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Venmo is rolling out a new rent, mortgage, and retail payment feature. Venmo is partnering with a major housing commerce platform, Built Rewards. Users will soon be able to pay rent, their mortgage, or buy retail items directly through an app starting next year. Customers must have an account with both Venmo and Built to access the feature. In addition to making monthly payments, the collaboration will allow people to use Venmo to shop at more than 45,000 merchants in Built's network.
Our time now 7:25. The city of Oakland sued for more than $600 million. We'll tell you how this lawsuit could affect Oakland's current deficit.
A Sonoma County case involving stolen chickens is heading to a jury. How it could reshape America's animal rights laws.
Good morning. Senate Republicans in Washington say they're betting on Democrats bending in their favor. You have the latest on what is the second longest government shutdown in modern history. And San Mateo County hopes to quickly replace Christina Corpus, who was removed from office as county sheriff. We have the latest on when the county's top law enforcement position is expected to be filled.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
I'm Gassia Mikaelian. It's a busy Wednesday, October 29th. Let's see what's changing in the weather. Hopefully not much. Steve Paulson.
I think it's to your liking,
I love
young
it.
lady there.
Yeah.
I think so, yes. Clear skies. Now, there is an offshore breeze, some of the higher elevations making it out to parts of the San Mateo coast where there's some pretty mild conditions, 40s, 50s. I mean, the city at 59. I mean, they should be 53 this time of year, so they're well above. Upper 40s, 50s for many here. And there it is, a little east-northeast. It's been up to about 28 miles per hour right above the Claremont, so I have to keep an eye on that. Never overestimate or underlook an offshore breeze in October. 80s today, Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose on Steve's forecast highs. Today will be nice, tomorrow will be cooler, but then we'll get a rebound as we go into Halloween and the first weekend in November. But if you're looking for a little cooler weather, you won't have to wait long. It'll be here tomorrow. But today it's all about let the sun shine in. It'll be here across the board here. Severe clear today, offshore breeze, many upper 70s and 80s on those temps. Well, I'm thinking of going on a stone cold picnic later today. I guess the Sunol area is not one I should think about.
Can't go. Last night I didn't get any sleep at all. So.
You didn't?
Yes. But yeah, I should leave it there, all right?
Oh, you made me laugh. That was a good one.
Good morning, everyone. Let's go out and take a look at the commute at the Bay Bridge. It's pretty slow this morning. It's backed up from before the mains metering lights are on, and there have been no major problems on the bridge, but it's just one of those commutes. We've really had slow traffic on the East Bay commute. Southbound 680 now at Rudgear. There's a new crash. There was one at North Main, so 680 is slow driving from Walnut Creek to Alamo. We also have southbound 680 slow on the Sunol grade because of earlier issues, and 238 is slow. Dakota Road slows just off the freeway there because of a crash on city streets, and we also do have traffic that is going to be busy in San Jose, the Santa Clara Valley, almost everywhere you look heading to the West Valley. 7:31. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, thank you. Well, the federal government shutdown continues, and House Speaker Mike Johnson still blames Democrats for the government shutdown. Now, this morning, Senate Majority Leader John Thune told Politico Republican lawmakers are increasingly convinced some centrist Democrats are about to fold by early next week. Speaker Johnson also says he believes there'll be movement as well.
The people know the Democrats are responding to fear. It is their fear of the most radical far-left voices in their party that has made them decide to obey the demands of the far left and to shut down the entire government and thereby inflict all this pain on the people.
Now, Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and New Mexican Senator Ben Ray Lujan, they're planning to speak about the government shutdown in just about 2 hours from now. The Democrats are demanding President Trump step in and get involved. Democrats are pushing to get an act passed to make sure Americans who qualify will still get SNAP benefits through the end of the government shutdown. Well, San Mateo County is launching a plan to select a new sheriff after spending almost a year to fire Christina Corpus from the job as sheriff. KTVU's James Torres is in Redwood City now to tell us more about that process. Good morning, James.
Dave, good morning to you. Well, according to the county's charter, there are two ways that the county could select a new sheriff, either appoint one or have voters elect one. That process was the topic of conversation during a special meeting set for Tuesday night in county charters. Some argue appointing a new sheriff would be the much faster, less expensive option for the county, especially considering all that it took to remove Christina Corpus from office, whereas electing a sheriff would mean the voters get to decide who their top law enforcement official is, rather than the county leaders. Well, the Board of Supervisors talked about it. They were nearly split on the decision, voting 3-2 in favor of appointing their next sheriff. That brought debate between supervisors.
This ability to say we know better than the voters, I don't think we do.
We're simply exercising. The board is simply has a vacancy and has decided to move forward with an appointment rather than call a special election. We're not taking away anyone's right to vote.
You may remember the county removed Christina Corpus from office earlier this month. That was after a final independent review of her time as sheriff. She tried to stall the process to replace her as she continues to appeal, but a judge shot that down. Well, voters, they had a chance to speak directly to the board, spelling out the qualities they want in their next sheriff, including someone who lives in the county, holds the correct certifications with recent law enforcement experience in correctional facilities. They say applicants have until November 5th to apply for the job. We are live this morning in Redwood City. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. The Border Patrol is under criticism after video went viral showing agents dragging a man from his car in Chicago. The man is part of a running club which posted this video. The club identifies him as an American citizen who was driving home after a morning run when he encountered a Border Patrol roadblock. The club accuses agents of dragging him out of his car and pinning him to the ground for not moving his vehicle. The video shows agents putting their knees on his back while handcuffing him. The club says he suffered 6 broken ribs and has internal bleeding. Homeland Security says agents deployed crowd control measures to protect themselves from a hostile crowd.
Our time now 7:35. The city of Oakland may have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in a lawsuit over a proposal to build a coal terminal near the port of Oakland. A judge recently ruled the city of Oakland essentially bankrupted the company behind that plan, saying city leaders worked to stop that terminal from being built. But now the company wants the city to pay it more than $600 million in damages. Critics of the coal terminal say the plan would badly affect air quality across Oakland.
Our organization is committed to continuing to oppose this until it's over, until the developers give up.
Now, Oakland's own study said the judgment would only be about a third of that size, about $230 million. The Oakland city attorney issued a statement saying the city disagrees with the bankruptcy judge's order in several aspects. Importantly, the order does not award any damages and would reserve that issue for a possible trial.
A jury will now decide whether an animal rights activist is guilty of breaking into a Sonoma County poultry plant and taking 4 chickens. Prosecutors accused 23-year-old Zoe Rosenberg of dressing up as a poultry worker to gain access to a Purdue Farms plant in 2023. Her outfit included a fake badge to bypass security. Rosenberg says the 4 chickens were abused and in distress. Her attorneys argue that because law enforcement did not step in to help the birds, she was legally allowed to rescue them.
They have to prove that essentially, my intention was to disrupt a business. My intention was to trespass, not to rescue animals who were in distress, who needed care. And so what we're arguing is that my intent was to help animals and to do so legally, not to break the law.
Purdue insists it does not mistreat chickens. Rosenberg rejected a plea deal and chose instead to go to trial to bring more attention to her case. If found guilty, she faces up to 5 years in prison.
All right, guys, it's 7:37. Right back to Sal. You've been busy. Did you fix those problems out there?
Well, the South Bay and the East Bay are the spots, Dave and Garcia. Let's start with San Jose and the South Bay. I want to show you that most of these freeways are slow. We haven't had a lot of crashes. That's the good news, but we have had slow traffic. You can see in our live picture here, you can see northbound 280 is that kind of slow. That's what you're seeing all over the valley, but that's a lot more normal. You know what's not normal is that whole Sunol grade thing where southbound 680 traffic is going to be super busy because of earlier issues. It started off the morning poorly when we had a crash blocking several lanes. That's been gone for a while, but look at 680. Don't be surprised by this area of the bay if this is your commute. If you're driving on 880 South or 680 South, it is slow due to a variety of issues that have mostly been cleared but have left their mark on the morning commute. Let's talk about the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. That is backed up beyond the maze. 7:38. What about today's weather? Here's Steve.
Sal, we have clear skies and anywhere from 40s, 50s to 60s. We'll head out to Mount Diablo there. North wind at 12, 61 warm degrees. And also, same can be said up in the Oakland, Berkeley Hills. There's a little bit of an east-northeast breeze. Always got to keep up to 31. We don't want to see that. Northeast 20, that's right above the Claremont, 1,400 feet there. Gust of 31 miles per hour. That'll make for a warm day in Berkeley, Emeryville, and also Oakland. I'm seeing Alameda at 58. Kensington and El Cerrito with that east-northeast breeze. Look at that, from Orinda to Kensington to El Cerrito. They're in the 60s. El Cerrito might be one of the warmest places right now in the Bay Area because of that offshore breeze. 78 for the city, from the 58. Fog is off the coast. It'll be here tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to help them today. Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose, up we go. 84, 80, 83, and 80 on the forecast highs. 55 Half Moon Bay. They were 64 at one time. 40s and 50s on a lot of the temps. We are running warmer, though, except for most locations, by a good 2 to 10 degrees compared to yesterday at this time. 20s up in the mountains, Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, Mammoth's in there as well. Alturas, Reno at 34. Today, high pressure is your fair weather friend. It'll give us warm temps with that offshore breeze. That's kind of the key there. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be this warm. Cooler tomorrow, then I think we'll start to get a rebound here on all-important Friday. Friday night looks just fine, and the first weekend in November looks mild to warm, although we set our clocks back on Sunday. You can't get that warm. I mean, you run out of daylight. Any rain? Maybe around the 6th or 7th right now. Kind of looks weak, but there's a possibility around there. Let the sun shine in today. Lows 40s, 50s, and 60s. It'll be warmer, 80s for many today, 70s, 80s. Cool down, good 10-plus degrees tomorrow, then a little rebound Friday, and looks nice going into the weekend.
Thank you, Steve. Well, Halloween is just 2 days away, meaning trick-or-treaters will be out and collecting candy. But every year, this one question comes up, right? Stirs up a debate.
It stirs up a debate. We want to hear from you to chime in. We're asking this. What's your position on trick-or-treating age limits? Here are your options. Look at your screen. Only kids, teenagers too, or anybody in a costume. If you want to weigh in, just go to KTVU.com/vote. What do you think?
Anybody.
Anybody?
Even if you're not in costume. If you're like parenting some children who are dressed up, yes, I can't turn you away. I'm a softie. As I get older, I get softer.
All right. Well, look at your screen. You're voting as we go to break. One more look at that poll, and don't forget you can scan that QR code in the top right corner. It'll take you to our poll. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. Time is 7:44. Here's some of the stories we're following for you this morning. We've been tracking the movements of Hurricane Melissa. It's been downgraded now to a Category 2 hurricane after making landfall in Jamaica and then in Cuba. It caused a lot of damage in both of those countries, including severe flooding. Jamaica reports that homes, businesses, schools, and hospitals have been damaged. 7 deaths in the Caribbean have been blamed on the storm. And here at home, UCSF is getting a massive donation to support research into dementia. The Edward Fine Charitable Trust is giving the university $100 million for its Memory and Aging Center. UCSF says the money will speed up research, education, and care for people with dementia and support patients, families, doctors, and healthcare workers.
As AI companies are under increased pressure to develop protections for minors using the technology, a bipartisan group of lawmakers is now introducing laws targeting chatbots. The law would ban minors from using the digital companions. It comes after complaints from parents who say AI is to blame for children harming themselves or dying by suicide. The bipartisan bill requires AI companies to implement an age verification process and mandates that chatbots disclose their non-human status as well as the lack of professional credentials to all users.
The pursuit of profits by Silicon Valley should not consume and destroy America's children.
Big tech is using our children as guinea pigs in a high-tech, high-stakes experiment.
Multiple bills regulating AI are circulating through Congress. So far, no comprehensive legislation has been enacted at the federal level. Instead, several states have passed their own measures. The new legislation is likely to face pushback from privacy advocates who argue age verification mandates are invasive and prevent free speech online. 7:46, looks like NVIDIA set to make history again, and investors are waiting to hear from the Federal Reserve.
You know who knows all about that?
Is her name Pam Cook?
Pam
Okay.
Cook. She's here. You have the details in dollars and cents.
Here I am,
Yeah.
and I'm following all of this. It's pretty exciting this morning. We'll talk about NVIDIA in 1 second. Investors are waiting to hear from the Federal Reserve about interest rates. The Fed is widely expected to cut rates by a quarter point when that policy makers meeting wraps up again today. But as that opening bell rang this morning, NVIDIA stock gained another 4.5%. It continued up from there, and it is now officially the first company to have a market cap of $5 trillion. That is after becoming the first company to hit $4 trillion. That was just in July. So market cap, in case you don't know, that is the number of shares outstanding times the price of the share. So NVIDIA making history this morning. By the way, that is an organization of Israeli business founders ringing the bell. They help other Israeli startups in New York grow and succeed there in New York City and across the country. All right, as we take a live look, a little bit of a rally that's helping NVIDIA. The tech stocks on the NASDAQ gaining as well, right along with it, up more than 0.5% for the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 up 0.25%. There's a live look at the Dow, up almost 0.5% today, 221 points or so there. UPS is revealing more details in its turnaround plans. In the company's quarterly earnings report, UPS announced it has cut nearly 50,000 jobs this year, including operational roles, management positions. It has also closed more than 90 facilities. UPS executives say the overhaul is designed to increase efficiency and reduce resilience on its largest customer, Amazon, in favor of more profitable businesses. UPS is expected to save $3 billion with those changes. Meta's laying off hundreds of employees at its AI unit. A notice filed with the California Employment Development Department reveals 318 employees will be let go at the company's Menlo Park offices. Those layoffs are set to take effect in December and are among the 600 job cuts that were first reported last week. And Uber announced it is set to launch a fleet of robo-taxis here in the Bay Area. The company says it is part of a partnership with Newark-based car maker Lucid and Mountain View-based autonomous vehicle company Nuro. The first cars of the test fleet have already been delivered, and Uber says there will soon be more than 100 cars available. Uber's autonomous vehicle service is expected to be ready in the Bay Area sometime next year. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Pam, thank you. 7:49. For those who are still two hands on the wheel, let's see what Sal is finding in the traffic center.
I'm finding, Garcia, that people should leave the house early.
Oh, boy.
And Dave, yeah, because of certain commutes. Now, the Bay Bridge is not one of those commutes. Yes, it's slow. It's about what you'd expect. Every day it's backed up beyond the maze at this time. That's nothing unusual. Highway 4 is about the same. 680 had a couple of different wrecks, one of them being southbound 680 near Rudgear Road. Heading away from the Walnut Creek interchange, but Highway 24 is also slow through Lafayette, and 680 and 880 are slow. 680 through the Sunol grade, that's because of earlier issues, and 880, same old from Hayward all the way down into Fremont, almost Milpitas. So we have quite the commute going on, Wednesday being the busiest day of the week so far. 7:49. Let's bring Steve back in with today's weather.
Well, thank you, Sal. Thankfully, we don't have any weather to really discuss, except if you like it sunny and warmer. It will be today. Now, we're not there yet, but there are a few that are already in the 60s. We do have an offshore breeze. Dry pattern until maybe the 6th or 7th. Warmer today. Then we'll get a cool down tomorrow. Going 78 in the city after a low of, well, it's still stuck at 59. I'm hoping it dips to 58. Average 68. 53, the record 84, that's it. 1993, and 1.25 inches fell on the state in 1964. Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose, the arrows are all up today, 84, 80, 83, and 80 degrees on the forecast highs. 40s, 50s, and some 60s, mainly 40s and 50s now. There's a few cool readings, and there's some that are pretty warm. Bodega Bay, 59. Sausalito, 61. Yatalima Valley's down to 43. Sonoma, Novato, Petaluma at 47. Windsor's 49. Canocti, those 61. So there's some big spreads here. Los Angeles yesterday, downtown LA was 97 degrees for a record high. That's crazy hot there. Las Vegas at 57 and 47 up in Ukiah with 20s up in Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. Today's all about sunshine and warm temps. System plowing into the Pacific Northwest will chip away at the stone, so to speak, on the high pressure, knock it down. We'll get a cooler Thursday, but then a quick rebound as we go into the weekend. Your Friday, Halloween looks good. I don't see any issues there. Again, though, as we go into the first weekend in November, we set our clocks back on Sunday, so it's tough to get too warm. But we'll get some upper 70s, low 80s. Somewhere around the 6th or 7th, something looks to be kind of brewing, mainly north, but, you know, still a ways away. But something looks to be on the menu there. Let the sunshine in today. Severe clear, offshore breeze, north-northeast up in the hills. 70s, 80s on the temps. Cooler tomorrow, and then we'll get a nice Friday, and then even a little bit warmer going into the weekend, Dave.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time 7:51. Bay Area bakeries working round the clock, filling their ovens with the aroma of tradition. Up next at 8, we'll take you to Hayward. We'll learn why, for many families, the bread is more than a sweet treat. And avian flu has been found in birds migrating from cooler parts of the world to here in California, where it's warmer. We'll tell you where 2 geese with avian flu were spotted. That's next. And it's closer to winter than the summer, we know, but we're already thinking about next year's zip trips. This year, we're doing something different. Instead of us picking the cities, we want to hear from you. Tell us why your hometown should be our next zip trip destination. Now scan that QR code and record a video or share a few photos telling us all about your city. And we could choose it for next year's zip trip lineup. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's now 7:55. Game 5 of the World Series this evening in Los Angeles, and the intensity is rising. The best-of-7 series now tied at 2 games apiece after the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Dodgers last night 6-2. Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani made his first World Series start as a pitcher. He gave up a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, then went on to pitch 6 innings with 6 strikeouts. However, Toronto broke the game open in the 7th, 4 runs, and that gave them the win. That victory ensures the series will go at least to Game 6 Friday night. And don't forget, you can watch Game 5 of the World Series this evening right here on KTVU Fox 2. That's later today. Pre-game coverage begins at 3 p.m. Major League Baseball on Fox begins at 4. And the first pitch is at 5 this afternoon. You can also catch our newscast all afternoon on the Fox Local app. Time is now 7:56. The 49ers making some moves ahead of the NFL trade deadline. The 49ers are acquiring defensive end Keion White from the New England Patriots. The 49ers sent a 6th-round pick to New England. They're also getting a 7th-round pick in return. Now, White could give the 49ers some relief on defense since the 49ers desperately need a pass rusher. Their top 3 pass rushers are out with injuries, including Nick Bosa. Now, White recorded 5 sacks last season. He does have 1 year left on his rookie contract. It's now 7:57. Trick-or-treating is normally part of most childhoods of people. Plenty of adults, though, also have Halloween plans. A new poll by the Associated Press finds 67% of adults say they plan to celebrate Halloween in some way. Now, parents and guardians of those under the age of 18, they're more likely to celebrate Halloween compared to adults who don't have kids. Parents are also more likely to carve pumpkins or wear a costume and go to a party compared to non-parents. And when it comes to trick-or-treating, the poll finds 5% of adults plan to pass out healthy snacks. Well, fans of Ghostbusters groups around the country are suiting up for a good cause.
Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Yeah, even I knew that. Sony Pictures launched a year-long fundraising initiative called Ghostbusters Give Back. This program transforms fandom into philanthropy by challenging local chapters to raise money for their favorite charities. Now, part of the match funding will be used to produce thousands of special Ghostbusters-themed hospital gowns for children who are seriously ill. Time's now 7:58. Wildlife experts are sounding the alarm in Northern California after 5 dead geese and 9 sick birds were found in the past 2 weeks. State officials confirmed that a dangerous strain of avian flu has been detected in El Dorado County. Preliminary tests show the virus was found in 2 Canadian goose in their carcasses recovered from a local lake. Experts are advising the public be really careful and look for signs of illness.
Very lethargic. They tend to have neurological issues where they wobble, their head swivels. Now this guy makes me suspicious because he's all isolated by himself.
Those birds, some of them are diseased and they bring that in. Again, they're social, they congregate in large flocks, and so it spreads.
Now, wildlife experts are always advised don't touch any sick or dead birds. Instead, report the sightings to local authorities.
Well, a nearly year-long saga comes to a head in San Mateo County, while leaders are now facing a split decision on how to replace its ousted sheriff. A courtroom showdown over mass firings, the move by a federal judge to protect government workers caught in the middle of the shutdown. Then,
Pan of the Muerto is one of the most special symbols. It represents the circle of life.
And from ancient roots to modern altars and sweet bread, how Dia de los Muertos is connecting families, cultures, and remembrance across the Bay Area.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning. Welcome to Mornings on 2. You're looking at the San Francisco skyline this morning. More dry weather is moving into the Bay Area. Question is how long it will last. We're going to find out in a moment. But first, thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Gaskia Mikhaelian. October 29th, nice mild weather. Let's see where the day goes. We'll check in with our Steve Paulson for that.
It goes up on those temperatures, no doubt about it here. We have clear skies, you guys. Temperatures all over the place, 40s, 50s, and 60s. If you get that offshore breeze, it's pretty mild. The city has been stuck at 59 all morning long. Otherwise, it's upper 40s and 50s. The warmest temp this morning was Pillar Point at one time at 65 warm degrees. El Cerrito, 64, all because we have that east-northeast breeze. So Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose, all warmer today, 84, 80, 83, and 80 on the forecast highs. All good to go today. Cooler tomorrow, but we'll rebound it for Friday, the all-important Friday, Halloween, and into the weekend as well. Let the sun shine in. Severe clear today. Offshore breeze. Warmer, many 80s for highs. 70s and 80s well above. We'll cool it down tomorrow, but today, good to go. All right, Sal's here. He's been dancing as fast as he can. My goodness, where do you want to start?
Well, let's go up and away to the East Bay, Steve. Right now, westbound Highway 4. Slow traffic there, 680 slow from Walnut Creek to Alamo because of earlier issues. The East Bay really is, as you like to see here, if you look at the maps, very slow almost everywhere. A lot of earlier crashes to blame for all of this slow traffic. And also the South Bay is super busy. So it's been a very busy Wednesday morning commute. Almost everywhere you look is slow. And it just, it's apparent to me that on Wednesdays, I guess people really do have to go into the office, or a lot of people do anyway. 8:01, let's go back to the headlines.
Sal, thank you. San Mateo County is launching a plan to select a new sheriff.
That's after spending nearly a year to fire Christina Corpus from her position. KTVU's James Torres is live in Redwood City with the process spelled out by county leaders. James?
And good morning to you both. Well, according to the county charter for San Mateo, it would take about two different processes to actually get a new sheriff into a position. That's either appointing the sheriff, and that'd be done by county leaders, or let voters decide by electing a new sheriff. That process, and at least which avenue to choose, was the topic of conversation during a special meeting called Tuesday night in county chambers. Some argue appointing a sheriff would be the faster, less expensive option for the county, and much to consider, considering how much it took to actually remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office, whereas electing a sheriff would mean the voters get to decide rather than county leaders. Board of Supervisors nearly split on that decision, voting 3-2 to appoint their next sheriff, and that brought debate between supervisors.
This ability to say we know better than the voters, I don't think we do.
We're simply exercising. The board is simply has a vacancy and has decided to move forward with an appointment rather than call a special election. We're not taking away anyone's right to vote.
It was earlier this month when the county removed Christina Corpus from office. That was after a final independent review of her time as sheriff, the last leg of many attempts to remove her from her position. She tried to stall this replacement process as she continues to appeal, but a judge shot that down. At that meeting, voters spoke directly to the board, spelling out what qualities they want to see in their next sheriff, including someone who lives in the county and holds the correct certifications with recent law enforcement experience in correctional facilities. The county says applicants have until November 5th to apply for the job. We're live this morning in Redwood City. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. It is coming up on 8:04 now. A federal judge has extended an order blocking the White House from firing federal workers during the government shutdown. The San Francisco-based judge's order will stay in place indefinitely unless a higher court overturns it on appeal. She originally issued that ruling several weeks ago. The Trump administration has tried to use the shutdown to continue its cuts to federal programs, with the president saying he was targeting programs put in place by Democrats. The administration argued in court that the American people voted for the firings when electing President Trump.
Governor Newsom says cooperation between the CHP and local law enforcement is paying off. He touted new statistics that show the partnership contributed to a significant drop in crime in the Bay Area and other parts of the state. The governor's office highlighted a 22% drop in violent crime in San Francisco this year. The CHP says it helped seize nearly 700 pounds of fentanyl, made 500 arrests, and recovered 115 stolen vehicles. The CHP says it's also working with Bay Area cities that are hosting large events, including next year's Super Bowl and FIFA World Cup. Meanwhile, there's growing support for and pushback to a plan in Oakland to expand the use of license plate cameras. The city's considering adding new flock cameras. Supporters and opponents of the plan held competing protests outside a scheduled meeting at City Hall yesterday. Supporters say the system helps solve and prevent crimes. Small business owners say it can help reduce robberies. Opponents say the digital surveillance is an invasion of privacy.
Last year, May 18th, 2024, my husband was murdered while I was with him. Wow. We need cameras. All of these murders that I have suffered through, you guys, are all cold cases.
They are not just license plate readers. That's a lie. That is a stone cold lie. It is also a lie that OPD can keep this data safe.
Yesterday's scheduled vote on the cameras was postponed. Oakland currently has about 300 flock cameras that capture license plates and the backs of vehicles. The company says the data are deleted after 30 days.
8:06 now, the San Jose City Council unanimously passed 2 measures to protect immigrant communities while there's increased federal immigration enforcement. One measure tells the staff to identify city-owned properties that could be used as staging grounds for immigration enforcement and to develop a policy to restrict how they're used. One council member said fear is so widespread that one local food bank does not even want to accept help from the National Guard offered by the governor during the government shutdown.
They're saying unfortunately, we can't take advantage of that offer from the state right now to have National Guard at our sites because people no longer know what law enforcement agencies they can trust and which ones they can't. And people might not take service if they see any kind of force.
The council also adopted an ordinance that requires all law enforcement officers operating in the city to wear visible identification. It also bans the use of face coverings. They noted that the San Jose Police Department already has that type of policy in place.
San Francisco Supervisor Jackie Fielder wants to provide more funding for legal aid for immigrants, directing $3.5 million to a rapid response network to pay for legal representation. Legal experts say in the past several months, ICE has arrested more than 87 people at asylum hearings in San Francisco Immigration Court.
Some of those arrested included children who had just turned 18, a pregnant woman, a woman who was breastfeeding her child, fathers whose families rely on them to pay their rent and put food on the table. We've even seen those with serious medical issues be callously detained by ICE agents at the court and denied adequate medical care.
Advocates say thanks to their network of legal services, all 45 of the immigrants they represented were released from custody, sometimes within hours of their arrest.
Amid heightened uncertainty following last week's threat of major immigration enforcement, a few Bay Area cities have canceled or scaled back Dia de los Muertos festivities. Those moving forward hope celebrations will bring a sense of unity, while organizers across our region wrap up preparations and even emergency plans in case federal agents show up. Local stores like Los Montaños supermarket are busy baking the ceremonial Pan de Muertos, or bread of the dead.
The Pan of the Muerto is one of the most special symbols. It represents the circle of life and the love that connects us. Sharing this bread reminds us our loved ones are always with us, in our hearts, in our memories.
The traditional Pan de Muerto is generally overflowed with orange hints sparkled with sugar or covered in sesame seeds.
Halloween is this Friday, and ahead of that holiday, we're asking for your stance on trick-or-treating age limits. We are asking you if you'll only give candy to children, if teenagers can be included, or if anyone in a costume gets a Snickers bar. 65% of you are in the anyone in a costume group. The next response is kids only, about 1 in 4. Then just 10% are allowing teens to join in. So we'll see what happens on Friday. Sal?
Garcia, you left out get off my lawn. Go away. No, I'm kidding. I would probably give candy to anyone who asked. All right, let's go out, and I do. Let's go out and take a look at the commute getting out to the MacArthur Maze. It's been long. You can see the traffic is busy. It's been the busiest day of the week so far. If you are driving on Highway 4 or 680, no one is getting a break, really. So this is the day when, if you can get on the road as early as possible, a lot of the crashes responsible for all the slow traffic have been cleared. But nevertheless, we have a bunch of slow traffic. 8:09, let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Hurricane Melissa leaves widespread damage after making landfall in Jamaica. The uncertainty that remains for those who survived the storm and where Melissa is headed next.
Border Patrol tactics put on a short leash. Why daily check-ins are now part of the job for one of the agency's leaders.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some of the stories we're following here at 8:13. California suing the Trump administration to prevent food benefits from running out. State leaders want to force the Agriculture Department to tap into an estimated $6 billion in contingency funds designed to be used during times like this. The USDA says that contingency money is intended to help respond to emergencies such as natural disasters. With federal assistance programs freezing funding in a matter of days, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors has approved spending $10 million to support local food assistance. More than $8 million will go to the Alameda County Community Food Bank and its partners. Another $1.7 will support meals for seniors.
Police are searching for the driver who led them on a chase that reached speeds of 160 miles per hour. It started at 10:30 last night on westbound 580 at Lakeshore Avenue in Oakland. That chase went across the Bay Bridge to San Francisco. Then the driver headed back to Oakland, going the wrong way on the freeway at times. The car finally stopped under 880 after taking the A Street exit in Hayward. 5 people ran out of the car into neighborhoods nearby and vanished.
Hurricane Melissa made history, coming ashore in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm with catastrophic flooding and lots of damage.
Now, Cuba is getting severe flooding right now as well. Tens of thousands of people hunkering down in shelters across Jamaica yesterday as Melissa broke records, making landfall as a Category 5 storm with wind gusts of 185 miles per hour. The worst of the storm speared the capital of Kingston, with Melissa washing ashore along the southwestern coast. But a majority of the island felt its impact. Destructive winds ripped off roofs, downed trees, and knocked out power to more than 500,000 people.
The level of noise is ridiculous. Trees are really bended over and flew away, and some of our roof is currently off.
Our infrastructure has been severely compromised. St. Elizabeth is the breadbasket of the country, and that has taken a beating.
Well, heavy rains and dangerous storm surge led to heavy flooding and landslides. Officials say several people were trapped during the storm, but rescues may not happen until conditions improve.
For people in Jamaica, still very dangerous conditions across the island, a hurricane warning in effect.
What I want is for nothing bad to happen, to find my home as I left it when I return.
Melissa is now Category 3 and made landfall in Cuba this morning. Up to 20 inches of rain forecast for parts of the island. Ahead of the storm, Cuba's president urged people to evacuate and warned of possible long-term damage.
Many Bay Area residents are scrambling to get in contact with their loved ones in Jamaica now that Melissa has moved on. Some are turning to social media to see if they've left messages saying they're okay. The owners of Miller's Jamaican restaurant and Minto's Jamaican Market and Restaurant in Oakland are among those in the group. Cleve Minto says the last he heard from his family was hours before the storm hit.
Most of my family is in Montego Bay, yeah. I'm just hoping and praying for all my family members right now, friends and loved ones, because we lose all communication right now. So we're just hoping for the best.
Jamaican officials say some 15,000 people were in shelters. The hurricane has wiped out power to about 80% of the island, some 540,000 people.
To see this happening at this time, it could not be more heartbreaking. Electrical cords are on the road, in the middle of the road. Trees are falling over from the neighbors in our driveway.
Business owners and members of the Jamaican American Community Organization say they'll organize relief efforts here in the Bay Area to send help to Jamaica.
At 8:17, a judge ordered a Border Patrol official to meet with her daily to discuss immigration enforcement operations he's overseeing in the Chicago area. Gregory Bovino defended his actions on federal agents in court yesterday. He was called in to testify after video appeared to show agents using tear gas during protests, which is a violation of a temporary restraining order. Bovino must now deliver use of force reports and all body-worn camera footage since September 2nd.
What we do is legal, ethical, and moral. So I think that the hearing will go very well.
The federal judge also told Bovino Border Patrol agents must leave journalists alone if they're doing their job. Bovino has until Friday to submit the report.
Time is 8:17, and the East Bay really has been slow because of earlier issues. 680 is finally beginning to get a little better, but it's backed up out of Dublin all the way to Fremont, and 880 slows from Hayward to Fremont. It's especially slow. Nothing that you haven't seen before, especially with earlier crashes on the Sunol Grade. The South Bay commute is also filled in, so this is definitely the busiest day of the week. There are some commutes that are better than others. The Richmond Bridge still has kind of a big backup approaching the span, and the Bay Bridge is still backed up beyond the MacArthur Maze. 8:18. Let's talk about today's weather. Here's Steve.
Sal, clear skies. That's not a problem. Have to keep an eye on things. A little bit of an east-northeast breeze picking up a little bit right above the Claremont there. It's called Oakland North, 1,400 feet by the Caldecott Northeast. Night gust to 32. Don't want anything higher than that. Even though we've had recent rain, there's a little green out there. You have to keep an eye on that northeast breeze in October, no doubt about it. And that's also leading to, you can see Orinda. Now, again, you can go not far away. You can find a big difference in the temps. But Orinda, Kensington, 62, and then El Cerrito, the benefit of that, it's 63 degrees. Yet it's 46 in Lafayette and also Alamo. So there's some big differences if you get that breeze or not. 78, 58 for the city today. Should be wall-to-wall sunshine. Fog is lurking off the coast. It'll be here tomorrow. I don't think it'll make an impact today. 84 is the record high. That's it. 1993, 78 today, which is 10 above the average of 68. Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose. Up we go. 84, 80, 83, and 80 on the forecast highs. 64, Half Moon Bay. That east-northeast breeze kicked back in for them. SFO, 60. 59 in Oakland, yet you can find 40s for others. So there's some big differences on wind versus no wind at all. 30s and 20s in the mountains. Los Angeles, if you didn't hear yesterday, downtown LA was 97 degrees for a record high. Arcata at 49 to 60 down in San Diego. It's all about high pressure. Then that low driving into the Pacific Northwest will, what we call, flatten the ridge by tomorrow. That'll give us a pretty good cool down, good 10 plus degrees, maybe more than that. But the good news is I think we'll rebound a little bit on Friday. Friday night, Halloween looks good to go. And even a warmer weekend, although with the clocks being set back on Sunday, it's tough to get too warm when it gets dark around 5 o'clock. Any rain? Well, I've been hinting at the 6th or 7th. Looks like something is brewing. We'll see if it makes it this far, but I think we'll see something kind of clip North Bay around that time. Let the sun shine in. Severe clear today. Offshore breeze, warmer, many 80s for highs, 70s and 80s. After today, quick little cool down, but then doesn't take long, you guys, to recover going into the all-important weekend and including Friday night.
Temperatures on the upswing. Steve, thank you. YouTube redesigning its TV experience. The new feature promising to give a new look and a way to buy what you see on screen.
Then we are so excited for next year's Fox Local Summer Zip Trip season. We are now asking you in October to weigh in on which cities should make it to our final list. I have to say, you have been so kind to ask us in person, send us emails and notes on social media, but now we're making it official. We are turning to you for a pitch on your hometown. So scan the QR code, send us some photos or maybe a video of why your city should be in next year's Fox Local Zip Trip lineup. New this morning, Character AI is banning all users under the age of 18 from having open-ended conversations with its chatbots. The decision follows intense scrutiny from lawmakers and reports of harmful interactions of the popular platform, which is widely used by teens. The artificial intelligence company says starting today, the platform will eliminate the core chat functionality for minors, citing the need for increased safety and more conservative measures.
All right, 824, it's official. The darling of Wall Street, Bay Area-based NVIDIA, made history again this morning.
The other darling of Wall Street is Pam Cook. I had to say it. I couldn't let it pass. We're so glad you're here to really focus on a huge company that's been making news.
It's just crazy because it's happening so quickly. And we talk about NVIDIA a lot. Moments ago, this morning, NVIDIA became the first company to reach a market cap of $5 trillion. That is after becoming the first company to hit $4 trillion market cap just in July. Market cap, just a recap for you, calculated by multiplying the stock price by the number of shares outstanding. NVIDIA started with chips for gaming and drones. It has excelled in the AI boom. CEO Jensen Huang said NVIDIA expects $500 billion worth of AI chip orders and announced plans to build 7 new supercomputers for the U.S. government. So all of that success and those announcements helping, as that opening bell rang this morning, take NVIDIA's stock up again, another 4%. It's up about 50% on the year. By the way, ringing the bell today, an organization of Israeli business founders. They help other Israeli startups grow and succeed in New York and across the country. So they're visiting the New York Stock Exchange, and as we take you live to the exchange, all across the board, all 3 major market indexes are up. The live look at the Dow Jones up 252 points or so, more than 0.5%. The S&P 500 up 0.25%, and the Nasdaq up more than 0.5%. Of course, getting help from NVIDIA, up 153 points. YouTube rolling out new features to help content creators and people watching at home. The Bay Area-based company said its goal is to make YouTube a premier TV experience. Over the last year, people have watched more than 35 billion hours of shopping-related content alone on YouTube. Some of the new features include using AI to automatically generate higher resolutions for videos. They will also roll out something that looks like a TV menu where you can flip through your favorite channels. One of the biggest upgrades is that shopping videos will soon include QR codes where viewers can actually instantly go directly to a product page and buy, similar to what they do on Instagram. Meta laying off hundreds of employees in its AI unit. A notice filed with California's Employment Development Department reveals 318 employees will be let go at the company's Menlo Park offices. Those layoffs are set to take effect in December and are among the 600 job cuts that were first reported last week. And some good news from Uber. It announced it is set to launch a fleet of robo-taxis here in the Bay Area. The company says it is part of a partnership with Newark-based car maker Lucid and Mountain View-based autonomous vehicle company Nuro. The first cars of the test fleet have already been delivered, and Uber says there will soon be more than 100 cars available. Uber's autonomous vehicle service is expected to be ready in the Bay Area sometime next year. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Pam, thank you. Breast cancer concerns especially high for Asian American and Pacific Islander women. In a minute, we talk with a doctor about why there is such a focus on the AAPI community and the 2 things that can make all the difference. Millions of California families worried about how they'll put food on the table in a matter of days. With CalFresh benefits drying up as the result of the federal government shutdown, how Bay Area restaurants and grocery stores are stepping in to help. Then, a long-running battle over a possible coal terminal at the Port of Oakland is far from over. Why the city may have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to the company that's been trying to build the facility, and why activists are promising to keep up the fight.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning. Welcome back. I'm Gassia Mikaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. It is Wednesday, October 29th. Thank you for joining us. You can see behind us the sun is out here along the Oakland estuary, and there's going to be a warm-up too. Steve Paulson in the Weather Center now tracking it all for us.
Looks like glass out there on the estuary.
It does.
It
Look
does.
gorgeous.
No doubt about it. Clear skies, coast and bay. Temperatures are bumping up here as we get near the end of October. The city has not budged off of 59. There's still 59. Otherwise, you get mainly 50s here. Had some upper 40s. Only Santa Rosa still. That's that east-northeast breeze, no doubt about it. Strongest gusts have been up in the right there above the Claremont, northeast 32. Always got to keep an eye on that this time of year, even though we've had some recent rain. 84, 80, 83, and 80 on the forecast highs today for Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose. Looks good to go today. Coast Bay, inland, everybody nice. A little cooler tomorrow, but you can let the sun shine in today, no doubt about it. Coast is clear, severe clear today. Offshore breeze and many upper 70s, low to mid 80s. Across the board here, 78 to 84. Well, it has been a bear on the commute here. Where do you want to start, Sal?
God, you could just throw a dart anywhere in the Bay Area. You'd land on a freeway that's slow. And right now at the Bay Bridge, we always look at that. It is not close to getting better. Might be better in the 9 o'clock hour. Right now, though, it looks slow. Highway 4 and 680 are slow. Walnut Creek to Alamo, we had a rash of crashes heading that way, and that's why it's pretty slow. Things are improving, though. And 880 and 680 heading south are slow. I want to mention, if you're trying to get to SFO, traffic through San Francisco is pretty slow this morning, right off the Bay Bridge all the way down to South City. 8:32, let's get back to the headlines.
Well, the federal government shutdown continues, and House Speaker Mike Johnson is still blaming Democrats for it. This morning, Senate Majority Leader John Thune told Politico Republican lawmakers are increasingly convinced that some centrist Democrats are getting ready to fold by early next week. Speaker Johnson says he believes there will be movement soon.
People know the Democrats are responding to fear. It is their fear of the most radical far-left voices in their party that has made them decide to obey the demands of the far left and to shut down the entire government and thereby inflict all this pain on the people.
Democrats are demanding President Trump step in. They're also pushing to get an act passed to ensure Americans who qualify will still receive SNAP benefits through the end of the shutdown.
Some Bay Area businesses are stepping in to help people who are on food assistance.
Yeah, they're offering discounts to help make sure people are fed since money from CalFresh benefits expire this weekend. KTVU's Allie Rasmus joins us live from Pleasant Hill with more. Allie?
Yeah, this morning, many of the business owners we've been speaking to over the past week say that they know their regular customers. They see them come into their shops and their businesses on a regular basis, and they're aware of the stress and anxiety many of those customers may be feeling, particularly the ones who rely on food assistance. So the owner of this grocery outlet here in Pleasant Hill, she also owns a grocery outlet in Concord. She's joined a growing number of Bay Area businesses offering discounts to people on food assistance to try and help ease the financial burden of those high food costs once CalFresh benefits run out November 1st, this Saturday. The owner of these two grocery stores offering a 10% discount on groceries for customers who show a valid EBT card starting Monday through Friday for the entire month of November.
Food costs are rising all across the board, right? But, I think it's most important to help the people that are supporting me daily. That's what I love about being a local business owner. I'm friends with my customers. My employees are friends with customers. We're seeing the same people every day. We're building those relationships.
Now, keep in mind, the grocery outlet stores are independently owned, so this discount of 10% for people with EBT cards only applies to her stores that she owns in Pleasant Hill and Concord. Now, along with grocery stores, about a half a dozen Bay Area restaurants have announced they are going to be giving free and discounted meals to families on food assistance. Tony and Alba's restaurant in San Jose, one of the first to make the announcement this week. Other restaurants like Cochise Cafe in Morgan Hill, Monster Pho and Puerto Rican street cuisine in Oakland, as well as Al Pastor Papi in San Francisco, also offering discounted meals to people on CalFresh benefits. Now, there's about 500,000 people in the Bay Area who rely on those CalFresh benefits, and the bulk of the money for that program comes from the federal government. So with the government shutdown still ongoing, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has said that the money for those CalFresh benefits will run out this weekend. Live in Pleasant Hill, Allie Rasmus, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Thank you, Allie. A federal judge says the acting U.S. attorney for Southern California is serving illegally. The judge ruled Bill Asaley has stayed in the role longer than federal law allows, impacting 3 criminal cases. This follows similar rulings against other Trump-appointed acting U.S. attorneys in Nevada and New Jersey. Federal law limits acting U.S. attorneys to 120 days unless confirmed by the Senate. The Justice Department says it will appeal the decision.
Oakland could have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in a lawsuit over the proposal to build a coal terminal near the Port of Oakland. A judge recently ruled the city essentially bankrupted the company behind the plan, saying city leaders worked to stop that terminal from being built. Well, now that company wants the city to pay it more than $600 million in damages. Opponents of the coal terminal say the plan would badly impact air quality across Oakland.
Our organization is committed to continuing to oppose this until it's over, until the developers give up.
The city's own analysis said the judgment should only be about a third of the size, around $230 million. The Oakland city attorney issued a statement saying, quote, the city disagrees with the bankruptcy judge's order in multiple respects. Importantly, the order does not award any damages and would reserve that issue for a possible trial.
8:37, near the end of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, there is a sharp focus on what many consider an alarming trend. The number of breast cancer cases among Asian American and Pacific Islander women under the age of 50 is up more than 50% since the year 2000. Let's get some insight by turning to Dr. Kathy Liu, a breast surgeon at El Camino Health. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I talked with a doctor about this last week, and she said that screening is the most important tool in preventing breast cancer deaths. AAPI women, though, are less likely to be up to date on their annual breast screening compared to other racial groups. What do you think is behind that?
So there are a lot of barriers to access, one being language. We're not offering education in their language. We also need to do outreach in their communities. There's technically, ethnically, culturally diverse opinions. And so a lot of patients, they think, oh, I don't have a family history of breast cancer, so therefore I'm not at risk. And also, there are modesty concerns. Asian American women, you do have to get undressed for a mammogram. They don't like to do that. And there are other, misperceptions regarding a mammogram.
So this can be generational.
Yes. And, we talk about Asian immigrants because Asian immigrants, it's been shown that the longer they stay in the U.S., the higher their risk of breast cancer becomes. And so we do realize that there is westernization lifestyle factors at play here, environmental factors at play. It's really important to target the community as a whole because of the misperception that they think that they're Asian and they don't tend to get breast cancer, and so they're not getting the recommended screenings.
So when you're saying the westernization, I'm imagining the food we eat, the activity we get or don't get, that sort of thing is all factored in?
Yes, so we tend to eat a higher trans fat diet. We tend to lead more sedentary lifestyles. All of this leads to increased obesity rates, and that's been shown to be linked to breast cancer risk.
I see. AAPI women also more likely to be diagnosed with breast cancer at a younger age. What do you think is feeding into that?
So we know that Asian American women tend to have denser breasts, and so if you have ever seen a mammogram, it's in black and white, and the breast tissue is white and the fatty tissue is black, but cancer also appears white. So what I usually tell my patients is that you're looking for a plane on a cloudy day, and it's going to be hard to see a plane on a cloudy day. So it's going to be hard to spot that cancer in dense breast. So for people with dense breasts, I usually recommend additional screening such as an ultrasound or MRI.
Wow. Okay. The doctor I was talking to last week was with Kaiser. They're suggesting all women at and above the age of 40 get an annual mammogram. Is that the same for you and your organization?
Yes, so that's national screening guidelines. We recommend that everyone over the age of 40 get their annual screening mammogram. However, if you have been identified to have any risk factors, such as family history, then you may qualify for earlier screening.
All right. It's an important conversation. I'm glad we had part of it here. Dr. Kathy Liu from El Camino Health, I appreciate your time on this.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
8:40 is your time. Rent, mortgage, and rewards. The all-in-one payment experience rolled out by Venmo. At 8:43 right now, some of the stores are falling for you. We've been tracking the movements of Hurricane Melissa. It's been downgraded to a Category 2 hurricane after making landfall in Jamaica and Cuba. It caused a lot of damage in both countries, including severe flooding. Jamaica reports that homes, businesses, schools, and hospitals have been damaged. At least 25 people have died in Haiti as the storm moved across Cuba.
UCSF is receiving a massive donation to support research on dementia. The Edward Fine Charitable Trust is giving the university $100 million for its Memory and Aging Center. Fine was a stockbroker and philanthropist who received care at the UCSF Memory Center at the end of his life. UCSF says the money will help speed up research, education, and care for people with dementia and will support patients, families, doctors, and healthcare workers. In a 3-2 vote, the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors voted to appoint a new sheriff instead of holding a special election to replace ousted Sheriff Christina Corpus. This comes after a Superior Court judge rejected a petition by Corpus to stop the replacement process while she challenges her removal. Last night, the supervisors held a discussion and public comment period on the process.
We need more time to gather all the qualified applicants and to be able to research on each one prior to the election to avoid or weed out the good old boy network that may exist in the department.
You can't just wash your hands of it now and hope that the voters will eventually come up with the best result in an election that can be won with a minority of those voting.
Applications for the position of sheriff will be open until November 5th. Supervisors will then hold at least one opportunity for the public to meet the final candidates before selecting one to be the new sheriff by November 13th.
Well, the jury will now decide whether an animal rights activist is guilty of breaking into a Sonoma County poultry plant and taking 4 chickens. Prosecutors accused 23-year-old Zoe Rosenberg of dressing up as a poultry worker at a Purdue Farms plant in 2023. Her outfit included a fake badge to bypass security. Rosenberg says the 4 chickens were abused and in distress. Her attorneys argue that because law enforcement did not step in to help the birds, she was legally allowed to rescue them.
They have to prove that essentially, my intention was to disrupt a business. My intention was to trespass, not to rescue animals who were in distress, who needed care. And so what we're arguing is that my intent was to help animals and to do so legally, not to break the law.
Purdue insists it does not mistreat chickens. Rosenberg rejected a plea deal and chose instead to go to trial and bring more attention to her cause. But if she's found guilty, she faces up to 5 years in prison. AI companies are facing increased pressure to develop protections for minors using their technology. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is now introducing laws to target chatbots. The law would ban the digital companions for minors. It comes after complaints from parents who blame the technology for pushing their children to harm themselves or commit suicide. The bipartisan bill requires AI companies to implement an age verification process and mandates chatbots disclose their non-human status as well as lack of professional credentials to all users.
The pursuit of profits by Silicon Valley should not consume and destroy America's children.
Big tech is using our children as guinea pigs in a high-tech, high-stakes experiment.
Multiple bills regulating AI are circulating through Congress, but so far no comprehensive legislation has been enacted at the federal level. Instead, several states have passed their own measures. The new legislation is likely to face pushback from privacy advocates who argue age verification mandates are invasive and prevent free speech online.
A Silicon Valley startup company is changing the concept of food delivery with its new robotic kitchen on wheels. Kishin, a South Korean entrepreneur, created an autonomous Korean barbecue food truck. It uses a modular AI-powered system called AutoWalk to cook your meal as the truck is driving it to you.
Food ingredients that is yet to be cooked, loaded into the refrigeration unit of the truck, and then once the food is finished, the AutoWalk dispenses the finished food into the bowl, and the bowl is passed on to the driving section. And with this initial cleaning sequence, the AutoWalk is able to clean itself to, I want to say, a perfect clean condition.
The AutoWalk made its debut at the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in San Francisco this week. The company is also planning to open a 24/7 automated micro-restaurant at a California airport.
8:48 now, a San Francisco nonprofit is posthumously honoring Irish patriot, humanitarian, and LGBTQ trailblazer Roger Casement. A plaque was dedicated in his honor at 18th and Castro Streets on San Francisco's Rainbow Honor Walk. The Consul General of Ireland to the Western United States attended the ceremony. Casement was a gay Irishman and diplomat who was hanged by the United Kingdom for treason in 1916. The Consul General says Casement, quote, stood up for the oppressed across continents and ultimately for the freedom of his own country.
Roger Casement's story reminds us that moral courage can often begin in solitude, in far-off places where no one is watching, and in moments where empathy defies empire.
Casement's plaque is the 45th permanent tribute in the display of notable LGBTQ individuals who have shaped world history and culture.
The Bay Area is celebrating one of Mexico's most cherished traditions, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. Rooted in ancient Aztec and Mayan beliefs, the holiday is meant to be a joyful celebration of life in which families remember and welcome the spirits of loved ones who've died. Between November 1st and 2nd, families decorate graves with bright orange marigolds believed to guide ancestors back home. Many also build intricate altars inside their homes to honor those who've died.
This is the altar or ofrenda. We put different elements, pictures of loved ones, artists, singers, even with pets. And we put some pan de muerto, flowers, candles, and the food that like to our loved ones. The reason that we put the food and the drinks is because we believe that on November 2nd, they came back with us and they shared with us.
Mexican bakeries such as Los Montañas Supermarket in Hayward are busy baking pan de muerto, bread of the dead. The seasonal sweet bread is placed on altars as an offering to the departed. It comes in many forms, the most common a small round loaf with 4 crossed strips of dough and a center knob symbolizing the bones of the human body.
Wow, that the event is so colorful. It is beautiful, beautiful, and coming here, living in California, I'm learning so much about it. Sal, you also are, taking part in this tradition, in your lifetime as well.
Absolutely. I've been to that market where they were talking about, and I'm a little bit upset with the producers who haven't had any of that bread come here for us to try.
You got to bring some in, Sal.
Okay. You know what? You got me. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. All right. Good morning, everyone. Anyway, pick up whatever you're taking to work with you and go, because the Bay Bridge suddenly got better. Here it is, 10 minutes to 9 or so, and 8:51 to be exact. And we're seeing improvement here, which is I was waiting for it. But it's been a tough Wednesday. Things are finally beginning to shake loose on 680. But 680 is still way slower than it normally is. It's backed up right out of the gate at the 580 interchange down the Sunol grade. 880 is slow from 238 all the way out to Milpitas. You can see the grid for yourself. We have a lot of slow traffic. 8:51. The weather's going to be nice. Here's Steve.
Sal, I remember we used to have food delivered here all the time. Remember that?
Oh, my gosh. Remember Katie, the coffee lady?
Oh, how do I forget? Yes.
Yes.
No doubt about it. Thank you, sir. All right, a little northeast breeze. Again, I know we've had recent rain. There's a little bit of green grass, but still, you got to watch out in October for an offshore breeze. And it was 97 in Los Angeles yesterday, so fire concerns in Southern California. A little northeast, 17, gust to 28 here. That's right above the Claremont. Hopefully it won't get any stronger than that. It's been up to about 30, 32, but that's an offshore direction across the board here, north to the south. And look at Half Moon Bay. My goodness, 66, Pacifica 65, Pillar Point 63. San Mateo's 57, Los Altos Hills 59, and Stanford 49. I think we're mostly in the 50s now, but San Mateo Coast and I think Bodega Bay could be the places to be today. Maybe even Stinson Beach here. 78, 58 for the city, average 68, 53. The record high is only 84, 1993, 46, 1951, inch and a quarter on this date in 1964. Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, and San Jose all up. Every arrow is up today. Everyone's going to warm up here with 70s and 80s. The Half Moon Bay Airport is 66. I think that blows past everybody here on this panel. Yes, it does, by a wide margin. So you go, Half Moon Bay. 30s and 20s up in the mountains. Lake Havasu City, 72. Los Angeles already 68, 53. Down in Monterey. High pressure says, I'm here today, and I'm going to give you some warm temps along with that offshore breeze. It's a dry pattern till around November 6th. But we'll get a little cool down tomorrow, good 10, 12 degree drop on the temps. But they'll recover for the all-important Friday and Halloween. And I think the first weekend as well looks like upper 70s, maybe a couple low 80s. But there are some hints of maybe November 6th. That'll be our next possible rain. One forecast model called the Icon. I like it a lot. Puts pretty good rain on us, but not until the 6th. So we have about 8 days to go. Until then, you don't have to worry about it. Lots of sunshine today. Temperatures are well above average here with 70s and also 80s on the highs. They'll come down pretty fast tomorrow. Then we'll see a nice rebound on the weekend. Friday night looks clear, looks good. And the weekend, even though we set our clocks back on Sunday, does look mild to warm, you guys.
We gain an hour. Thank you, Steve. 8:54, Venmo is rolling out a new rent, mortgage, and retail payment feature. Venmo partnering up with a major housing commerce platform, Built Rewards. Users will soon be able to pay their rent, mortgage, or buy retail items directly through an app starting next year. Customers must have an account with both Venmo and Built to access the feature. In addition to making monthly payments, the collaboration will allow people to use Venmo to shop at more than 45,000 merchants in Built's network.
From classrooms to TikTok, it's a phrase you can't escape. When you join us on the 9, the word that's taking the crown as Dictionary.com's Word of the Year.
A new survey shows many people don't outgrow celebrating Halloween. A new poll by the Associated Press finds 67% of adults say they plan to do something this coming Friday. Those who have children are more likely to celebrate Halloween than those who don't. Parents are also more likely to carve pumpkins, wear a costume, or go to a party compared to non-parents. When it comes to trick-or-treating, the poll finds 5% of adults plan to hand out healthy snacks.
Well, the intensity of the World Series ramps up with the pivotal Game 5 tonight in Los Angeles. The best-of-7 series now tied at 2 games apiece after the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the Dodgers 6-2 last night. Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani made his first World Series start on the mound. He gave up a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning and went on to pitch 6 innings with 6 strikeouts. However, Toronto broke the game open in the 7th inning with 4 runs to secure the win. That victory ensures the series will go at least to Game 6 on Friday. And watch Game 5 of the World Series right here on KTVU Fox 2 later this afternoon. Pre-game coverage begins at 3 o'clock with the MLB on Fox beginning at 4 and pitch at 5 this afternoon. You can watch our newscasts all afternoon on the Fox local app.
The San Francisco 49ers are making some moves ahead of the NFL trade deadline. They're acquiring defensive end Keon White from the New England Patriots. The Niners sending a 6th-round pick to New England and receiving a 7th-round pick in return. White could offer some relief to the Niners defense since the Niners are in desperate need of a pass rusher. Their top 3 pass rushers are sidelined with injury, including Nick Bosa. White recorded 5 sacks last season. He has 1 year remaining on his rookie contract. The children's clothing store Carter's is closing 150 stores and cutting 300 jobs. The exact locations to close have not yet been announced. Carter's, as you know, has a dozen locations across the Bay Area: San Jose, Hayward, Redwood City, Livermore. The company says the closures are due to low profits. Carter's already suspended the opening of new locations and plans to reduce inventory by a 1/3. Taking a quick break here as Mornings on 2 to 9 starts in just 60 seconds. Looking live at Levi Stadium. We'll be back.